everyone! Good morning! Maayong buntag, magandang RMMC. So our topic for today's discussions are the global and the global teacher professional. Is there a difference? A closer look at the teacher and teaching profession in ASEAN and beyond. The changing global landscape for 21st century teachers, and the last one is continuing professional development, the lifeblood of a teaching profession. So before anything else, let's have our objectives first. So at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to first differentiate the global and global teacher professional, discuss the following qualities and characteristics in addition to knowledge, skills, and values, discuss the teaching profession practices in the ASEAN, discuss the level of schooling as a teaching meliosis, explain the 21st century literacies, discuss the characteristic of a specific discipline or subject area, subject matter of learning, cite laws in continuing professional development, and the last one is to discuss the 4 ways to earn credit units. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello, I am Arin Redondo, and today I will tackle about the global and global teacher professional. Is there a difference? UNESCO defines global education as a goal to become aware of educational conditions or lack of it, developing countries worldwide, and aim to educate all people to a certain world standards. So, due to the COVID-19 epidemic, more than 1.5 billion children and youth around the world or have been affected by school and university closures. But UNESCO didn't want this pandemic to put a stop to our youth dream all across the world, so they devised a way to build a bridge to their dreams. The UNESCO Global Education and Coalition is a platform for collaboration and exchange to defend the right to education during and beyond this unprecedented disruption. Global education is a curriculum that is international in scope, which prepares today's youth around the world to function in one world environment under teachers who are intellectually, professionally, and humanistically prepared. So it is a curriculum where youth can learn about the connections between their own lives and the lives of people all over the world. It improves knowledge of the economic, cultural, political, and environmental factors that may influence our life. And of course, it is with the assistance of a qualified teacher who will guide and develop us for the betterment of ourselves. And an additional information to everybody, diversity, acknowledging differences, and teaching diverse cultural groups are all part of global education. It educates everyone on the planet, from distant and rough rural villages in underdeveloped countries to slum regions in different countries to the world's most powerful and economically stable societies. Global education meets the needs of the world's smallest classrooms to the largest classrooms. It is a response to a borderless education that transcends distance and region. To meet the various global challenges of the future, the 21st century learning goals have been established as basis of various curricula worldwide. These learning goals include the first one is the 21st century content, which contains emerging content areas such as global awareness, financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civic literacy, health, and awareness. So the second one is learning and thinking skills, wherein nakapaloob dito yung critical thinking and problem-solving skills, communication, creativity and innovation, collaboration, contextual learning, and information and media literacy. So the third one is ICT literacy, which talks about using technology in the context of learning so students know how to learn. And the last one is the life skills, which includes leadership, ethics, accountability, personal responsibility, and self-directions. So what does it mean to be a global teacher nowadays? Is this a teacher who teaches in another country? Is this individual a teacher who can teach 21st century learning goals everywhere in the world? These are some of the essential questions that must be addressed in order to fully comprehend the role of a global teacher. So, what is a global teacher? A global teacher is a competent teacher who is armed with enough skills, appropriate attitude, and universal values to teach students with both time-tested as well as modern technologies in education in any place in the world. He or she is someone who thinks and acts both locally and globally with worldwide perspectives, right in the community where he or she is situated. We are already aware that a global teacher can be found in underdeveloped countries, rural areas of a country, or even slum areas of a specific location. However, they all had one thing in common. They were prepared in every way to perform their responsibilities as a teacher. Next slide. The global Filipino teacher should have the following qualities and characteristics in addition to knowledge, skills, and values. The first one is understand how this world is interconnected. Understanding how others perceive and grasp the world enables us to recognize diverse points of view from our own. It allows us to see the connections between our own lives and the lives of people all across the world. It improves knowledge of the economic, cultural, political, and environmental factor that influence our life. The second one is recognizes that the world has rich variety of ways of life. In an interconnected world, as we have those unique culture and norms that differs us in other countries or people, we should have the ability to understand, respect, and work well with people from different cultures. It is so much important for social and academic success. The third one is has a vision of the future and sees what the future would be for himself or herself and the students. We can create an ideal image of what they want to accomplish in our classroom by constructing a vision for teaching, which we can utilize to stay motivated throughout our careers. I remember I read a saying that goes like this. A vision for the future enhances hope and optimism. Having a vision for the future is identifying and taking steps toward fulfilling your dreams. So the fourth one is must be creative and innovative. The most crucial reason to teach with creativity is one that is rarely measured but is critical to a child's academic success. They will like school. Making things is a pleasurable experience. Learning a new skill, collaborating, and producing something significant are all rewarding and enjoyable activities. And that also can be a reason why a student will be motivated to learn. Next is must have depth knowledge and must possess good communication skills. For Filipino teachers can be multilingual. We all know that effective communication skills are necessary for others and yourself to comprehend information more precisely and swiftly. So when we talk about a teacher in a global setting, it certainly involves language issues. As a Filipino educator, we sometimes need to study and learn the language of our listeners or students in order for us to not have this what we call language barrier. And lastly, must possess the competencies of a professional teacher as embodies in the National Competency-Based Standards for Teachers or NCBTS. So teachers and prospective educators should have this National Competency-Based Standards for Teachers because it assures that we are prepared and ready to pass on our knowledge to future generations. Teachers' competence is critical for the well-development of students and for guaranteeing high-quality learning. So to the question, is there a difference? So a global in education is about understanding diversity, respecting each other's opinions and points of view, as well as learning the unique difference we have in culture, norms, history, or etc., and respecting it. The global teacher, on the other hand, is a teacher or an instructor who will help us understand those concepts. The individual who will provide us with professional and personal guidance, who has wisdom that will allow us to see the bigger picture of our world.
The changing global landscape and the 21st century skills for teachers. We are in an era of borderless or flat world. Barriers have been broken by new information and communication technologies. The development of the 21st century skills is a necessary tool for teachers. Without these 21st century tools, no teacher can survive. The new learning environment is characterized by the following: learner-centered, new spaces and borderlines, enhanced opportunity for creativity and innovations, and use of ICT. With the new learning environment, content or subject matter of learning has been modified from a specific discipline or subject area. Subject matter of learning has the following characteristics. It is the integrated or interdisciplinary, demand or driven, emphasis on learning tools on how to retrieve knowledge, and balance of scientific, technological, cultural, global, and local concepts. The new breed of learners doesn't have age boundaries. Learners maybe are in an informal, formal, or informal setting. A confident people who thinks independently and critically and who communicates effectively. Self-directed and who questions, reflects and takes responsibility for his or her own learning. A concerned citizen, informed about the world and local affairs, has a strong sense of civic responsibilities and participates actively in improving the lives of others. The new type of learners are those coming from diverse background, multicultural and multi-generational, as coming from different age groups of lifelong learners. The 21st century literacies. Number 1. The arts of creativity. Solving problems and creating artworks. Number 2. Eco-literacy. An acquisition of knowledge about climate change, pollution, loss of natural habitats, and biodiversity. Solutions on how these environmental problems could be addressed must be practiced. Number 3. Cyber literacy or digital literacy. Information of ICT knowledge. Being in the rapid changes in the use of technologies for the teaching and learning, teachers and learners need to develop and enhance the use of digital gadgets, whether online or offline. Number 4. Financial literacy. Basic knowledge about the basics of economics and financial management. Number 5. Media literacy. Teachers and learners must learn how to discern about any information which are transmitted via various forms of media. Number 6. Social or emotional literacy. Knowledge about social dimensions and social skills that are appropriate in the context of society. And number 7. Globalization and multicultural literacy. Respecting multicultural diversity, aware of the global trends, acknowledge difference and similarities, respect each other's dignity.
A closer look at the teachers and the teaching profession in the ASEAN and beyond. The lesson will focus on the teachers in the 10 member states of the ASEAN. Number 1, Brunei. Number 2, Cambodia. Number 3, Indonesia. Number 4, Lao PDR. Number 5, Malaysia. Number 6, Myanmar. Number 7, Philippines. Number 8, Thailand. Number 9, Singapore. And number 10, Vietnam. Teaching as a profession will be focus of this lesson to provide a clear view of professional practices for purpose and comparison and development of mutual respect among countries. The ASEAN One Vision, One Identity, and One Community. Number 1. Primary level is composed usually of pre-primary, play school, pre-K, kindergarten. Grade 1, age 6 years old. Grade 2, age 7 years old. Grade 3, age 8 years old. Grade 4, age 9 years old. Grade 5, age 10 years old. Grade 6, age 11 years old. In the Philippines, the label primary level refers to elementary level and intermediate grade. Number 2, secondary level follows the primary level. Generally across the ASEAN, it is composed of junior high school and senior high school. The graduate from the senior high school can proceed in college or find a job appropriate in the qualification. However, there are slight variations in some countries, such as lower secondary level is 3 years with grades 7, 8, and 9, while upper secondary level is composed of grade 10, 11, and 12. In the Philippines, the junior high school is composed of grade 7, 8, 9, and 10. Grade 11 and 12 belong to senior high school. So, this is the variation in the number of years in the basic education across the ASEAN members. So as you can see in the table, variations, ASEAN members. So as you can see in the table, variations, levels of schooling, and number of years. So in country as of 2013 in Lao PDR, version 1, primary is 5 years, lower secondary is 4 years, upper secondary is 3 years, and total of 12 years. Version 2 in Myanmar, 5 years in elementary, 4 years in lower secondary, 2 years in upper secondary, total of 11 years. In Malaysia, version 3, 6 years of elementary, 3 years of lower secondary, 2 years of upper secondary, and total of 11 years. In Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, version 4, 6 years in elementary, lower secondary is 3 years, upper secondary is 3 years, and total of 12 years. In Singapore and Philippines, version 5, 6 years in elementary, 4 years in lower secondary, 2 years in upper secondary, and total of 12 years. Number 3, tertiary level is the college level which is beyond the basic education in all countries in the ASEAN. It is the ladder education system where the student earns bachelor degree in teaching education, which is a requirement to take a licensure examination to become a professional teacher. In the Philippines, the Technical Education Skills Development Professional Teacher. In the Philippines, the Technical Education Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, provides diploma and training certificates for lifelong learners. The agency also assists in the implementation of senior high school technical vocational tracks. B. The teachers professionals across the ASEAN. Number 1, academic preparation of teaching professionals in basic education. Admission to pre-service teacher education varies from the graduates of grade 9 to 12. In remote places of Lao PDR, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Cambodia, preschool, pre-primary, of kindergarten future teachers can have 9 years of basic education, grade 9, and get advanced training to teachers, 9 years of basic education plus 3 years of teaching preparation, or 10 years of basic education plus 3 years of teaching preparation. For teachers of lower secondary level, future teachers should have 12 years of basic education and 2 years of teacher preparation to earn diploma in teaching. For upper secondary level, the requirement is 12 years of basic education plus 4 to 5 years of teaching preparation to earn a bachelor's degree. However, for non-educational degree graduates, they can take postgraduate diploma in education teaching. This will mean an equivalent to 12 years of basic education plus 4 to 5 years of baccalaureate degree plus 1 year of graduate diploma. Almost all the teachers of education provide a teaching practicum, student teaching, or field experience course. This will provide them the opportunity to apply the theories and concepts in the content and pedagogy courses in real class situation. ASEAN countries have comparable academic teacher preparations. However, there are those who have gone beyond their borders, while others are still strengthening their programs. Number two, component of teaching preparation. This cluster of knowledge and understanding are embodied in general education or liberal arts education subject. In this cluster, knowledge, theories, principles, and pedagogies learned are validated in real-life situation as teachers. Specialized knowledge or major courses. For those who will teach the context of discipline in the upper elementary or the secondary levels, major content courses are learned. Several standards and competencies were developed a guide for all teachers, some of which will be discussed in detail in the succeeding lesson. But the most common standards that revolve around or anchor in the following domains are: number one, skills in the 21st century; number two, professionalism and accountability; number three, pedagogical competence; number four, teachers' characteristic qualities; number five, knowledge competence. C. Teaching profession practices in the ASEAN. Number one, teachers' major responsibilities or three major responsibilities. The actual teaching referred to the time of engagement of the teacher with the learners. This happened within the official teaching hours. The actual teaching hours vary from the country to country, from school to school. Sometimes actual teaching refers to the contact time to time on tasks. Next is management learning. Refers to the activity that support the actual teaching. Administrative work refers to the teacher's job that includes writing test items, checking recording of test paper results, attending the parents making reports, and other activities. Number two, teacher licensing requirement. In the Philippines, Professional Regulation Commission or PRC. In Singapore, National Institute of Education or NIE. In Thailand, Teacher Education Council or Kurosapa that gives licensure tests for the teacher applicants, while in the Indonesia, Acta 4 teacher license is given by the teacher colleges for an authority to teach. In other countries where no licensing is provided, certification is issued instead. This is done by Ministry of Education or the teacher education colleges or universities.
Continuing professional development, the lifeblood of a teaching profession. So every professional teacher is expected to continue developing after obtaining his or her license. The professional teacher of teaching obtained after passing the licensure examination for teacher or LET simply tells that the professional teacher possesses the minimum competencies expected to professional teachers. So the Code of Professional Conduct for Public School Teachers cited in Section 7 of Republic Act 4670 states that the responsibility is something expected of a professional teacher. The work of the teacher in the development and guidance of a young is a tremendous responsibility for which he is accountable to God, to his country, and to prosperity. It is a trust of which every teacher should strive to be worthy. So that means that responsibility is something that a professional teacher is required to have. So the teacher's role in the growth and supervision of a children and adolescents is a huge obligation for which he or she is responsible to God, to his country, and the prosperity. So every teacher should endeavor to be worthy of this trust. So with the enactment of Republic Act 10912, the CPD Law of 2016, CPD for all professions regulated by PRC is now mandatory. So with the passage of Republic Act 10912, the 2016 CPD law is now required for all PRC regulated professions. So for professional teachers is not an option, it is a necessity. So the CPD for professional teachers is not an option, it is a necessity. Yes, CPD is not an option for professional instructors because it is a requirement. So we have here the philosophical basis of CPD. First is the growth is an evidence of life. This implies that anything that is alive grows, and anything that grows alive. So a teacher who is alive grows physically, psychologically, mentally, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. So if he or she doesn't grow, that means that he or she is no longer alive. The second basis is a man and woman is an unfinished project. For a professional teacher, he or she is always in the process of becoming a better and better each day. So no person or no professional can claim that he or she has already arrived the state of perfection. And also this implies that every professional is expected to continue developing. So even before the enactment of the CPD Act of 2016, CPD was already alluded to in the 1987 Philippine Constitution. So no less than the Fundamental Law of the Land, Section 5, Paragraph 4 states that the state shall enhance the right of the teacher to professional advancement. So the need of CPD is heightened by the ASEAN integration and internalization, which are now real. So to be in, a professional must meet international standards. The way to go is CPD. So let's proceed now to the law that's cited in continuing professional development. So first law is the Batas Pambansa 232. So the Education Act of 1992, Chapter 3, Duties and Obligations, Section 16 states, as one of the teacher's obligation to assume that responsibility is to maintain and sustain his profession, growth, and advancement. So the second law is the Republic Act 9155. So an act instituting a framework of governance for basic education, establishing authority and accountability, renaming the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports as the Department of Education and for purposes. The third one is the Republic Act 7A36. The Teachers Professionalization Act also provided for mandatory continuing professional education or CPE, as also known as referred to as continuing professional education or continuing professional development or CPD. So the fourth one is the Board for Professional Teachers or BPT also passed resolution number 435 section 177 to adopt the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers pursuant to the provision of paragraph. So the Article 11 of RA 7836, otherwise known as the Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994. So the fifth one is Executive Order number 266, institutionalization of the continuing professional education or CPE programs of the various professional regulatory boards or PRBs under the supervision of the Professional Regulation Commission or the PRC. So the sixth and the last one is RA 10912, continuing professional Development Act of 2016. So with the enactment of this law, CPD for all the 43 professions regulated by PRC, including the teaching profession, has now mandatory. So let's have now the 4 ways to earn credit units. So the first one is professional tract. This includes trainings provided by CPD providers accredited by PRC. You can also earn credit units as a participant to a training approved by the CPD Council. You can also earn credit units as panelist, reactor, or facilitator and moderator. And also, lastly, you can earn much more if you are assigned by the CPD Council to monitor the conduct of an approved CPD program. So the second ways to earn credit units is the academic tract. So this refers to the completion of a master's degree, completions of candidacy to the doctorate program, postdoctoral diploma, and being recipient of professional chair grant or a fellowship grant. Take note that only completion of the master's degree is given a full credit for units of 45. So the third ways to earn credit units is the self-directed tract. This includes trainings offered by non-accredited CPD providers. Also, it refers to learning activities such as online training, local or international seminars, or non-degree courses, institution or company-censored training programs, and the like which did not undergo CPD accreditation. So the last way to earn credit units is the productive scholarship. So this means that professional teacher has developed program or training module, curriculum guide, or any source material. So that's all. Once again, we are the assigned group of the topic 12, Mr. Caliopo Russell Briggs, Ms. Rana Zoe Nicole, Razonable Dan K, and Ms. Redondo Arian Faye. That's all. To God be all the glory.